Phones rose into the air like a sudden forest of hands. "Everybody look at her." Victor's voice boomed across the bright store, loud enough to spill into the hallway outside. "This is Amara, the same Amara that begged me to stay when she had nothing." A few shoppers gasped. A woman paused mid-step. Two men leaned closer, already recording. Amara stood near a shelf of simple handbags. She wore a plain cream blouse, a soft black skirt, and flat sandals. No big jewelry, no flashy makeup. Her hair was neatly packed into a low bun. She looked calm, too calm, for someone being attacked in front of strangers. Victor stepped closer, smiling like he was on a stage. "Amara," he said, dragging her name like it tasted sweet in his mouth. "I didn't know you still shop like this. Or maybe you're just looking and dreaming." He laughed, and the laugh bounced off the shiny walls. Amara didn't move. Victor pointed at a small price tag. "This one is even expensive for you, Abby. Don't worry, I know you. You'll hold it, admire it, then drop it and pretend you didn't want it." Some people chuckled nervously, others looked uncomfortable, but no one stopped him. Amara's fingers tightened around the strap of the small bag she held. Her eyes stayed on Victor's face. Not angry, not scared. Just steady, like she was watching a storm from behind a window. Victor leaned in, his voice getting sharper. "You remember when I left you? That day you cried and said you would die without me? I told you the truth. I said I cannot suffer with you. I said I want a better life." He looked around, making sure everyone was listening. "And guess what?" he announced. "I got it." He spread his arms like a winner. "I escaped poverty. I escaped stress. I escaped a future of managing your tears every day." The crowd grew. The mall was busy. Music playing, lights blinking, people moving. But inside that store, everything slowed down. Even the cashier stopped scanning items. Even the security guard at the entrance shifted his weight and stared. Amara still said nothing. Victor frowned at her silence like it was insulting him. "You won't talk," he mocked. "Or you have no words again. You never had words before, just sad eyes and problems." His eyes dropped to her feet. "Look at your slippers. Years have passed and you are still the same." A woman in the crowd whispered, "Ah, this is wicked." Another person replied, "Maybe she did something to him." Victor heard them and smiled, pleased. He wanted people to pick sides. He wanted a show. He continued louder. "When life became hard, you wanted me to carry your whole world on my head. You wanted me to marry you and suffer with you. You wanted me to be a fool." He scoffed. "Thank God I used my brain." Amara's chest rose and fell slowly. Her eyes looked heavy now, like there were memories sitting behind them. Memories Victor could not see. Memories of long nights, empty pockets, silent crying, but she still did not break. Then Victor said the one thing he should never have said. "You know what is funny?" he shouted. "Even if you found small money now, you can never reach where I am. Never, because people like you are born to struggle." That sentence landed like a slap. The crowd went quiet. Even the teenagers stopped laughing. Amara's lips parted slightly, like she might speak, like she might finally answer him. Victor's face lit up, excited, ready to win again. But before Amara could say anything, a voice cut through the air, firm, calm, and professional. "Madam Amara." Everyone turned. A man in a dark suit stood at the store entrance. He wasn't a mall security guard. His suit looked too clean. His shoes looked too expensive. His face looked too serious. He walked in with careful steps, stopping a few feet away from Amara. Then he bowed his head slightly, respectfully. "Good afternoon, Ma," he said. "We have prepared the items you requested. If you're ready, the private lounge is available." The store manager, an older woman wearing a name badge, rushed forward like she had been called. "Yes, yes," the manager said quickly, smiling at Amara. "Madam, welcome again. We didn't know you would come today. We kept the pieces aside, just as you said." Whispers spread like fire. "Madam?" someone repeated under their breath. Victor blinked. His smile froze for half a second. Then he forced it back. He laughed, but it sounded weaker now. "Private lounge, prepared items." He waved a hand. "Stop acting. Maybe she is doing window shopping and you people want to sell." The manager's smile faded a little. "Sir, please," Victor cut her off. Don't sir me, I'm talking. I know this woman. She is my ex. She used to beg me for transport money. He turned to Amara again with a cruel grin. So now you have people calling you madam. You want to act rich. Is this your new plan? To fool people? Amara finally lifted her chin. Her eyes met Victor's again, and for the first time she spoke. Victor, she said softly. Her voice was not shaky. It was calm, clear. The crowd leaned in. Victor leaned closer too, like he was hungry for her words. Amara looked at him like someone looking at an old scar. You left when my life was falling apart, she said. You didn't just walk away. You made sure I felt small. Victor shrugged. So, life is not fair. Amara nodded slowly. You're right, life is not fair. That sounded like the start of a fight. It sounded like revenge. Victor's eyes flashed. Now you want to blame me because you are still struggling? Amara didn't answer that. Instead, she turned slightly, looking past Victor, toward the entrance of the store, and that was when the strange shift happened. Two men appeared near the entrance, big, quiet. They wore black suits and clear earpieces. Their eyes scanned the crowd, moving like trained guards. One stepped slightly forward, blocking the path like he owned the doorway. People started backing away without being told. Phones still recorded, but hands shook now. Victor noticed the men. His grin twitched. What is this? He asked, trying to sound confident. Who are these ones? The store manager's face tightened. She suddenly looked nervous, like she had made a mistake by letting a crowd gather around someone important. One of the suited men spoke quietly into his wrist. Amara stayed calm. She didn't look shocked to see them. It was like she expected them. Victor swallowed. He tried to laugh again. Amara, are you now using bodyguards for show, so you can intimidate me? You think this can change the past? Amara's eyes softened for a moment. I'm not trying to change the past, she said. I survived it. That line hit Victor hard, but he pretended it didn't. He stepped forward again, stubborn. Survived. Please, if you survived, why are you here dressed like this? Why are you not in some big car? Amara's lips pressed into a small, sad smile. Because I don't dress to prove anything, she said. Victor scoffed. Then prove this, Amara. Prove you didn't lose. The crowd held its breath. Amara didn't shout. She didn't insult him. She simply turned her head slightly again, as if listening for something. Then the air changed. It was subtle at first, like a cold breeze in a warm room. The suited men at the entrance stiffened. Their posture became straighter. Their eyes turned toward the hallway outside the store. The store manager's face brightened with sudden fear and excitement, like a student seeing the principal. Footsteps approached, slow, steady, confident. The crowd parted without anyone saying a word. And then a voice came from behind Victor, deep, calm, and carrying a quiet kind of power. Amara. Victor turned sharply. A tall man stood at the entrance of the store now. He wore a well-fitted dark suit that looked like it was made just for him. A simple watch on his wrist caught the light. His eyes were focused, on Amara, not on the crowd. He took one step forward, and the guards moved with him like shadows. The mall didn't feel like a mall anymore. It felt like a courtroom. The man's gaze shifted from Amara to Victor. Just one look. Victor's throat went dry. His confidence faltered like a light about to go off. Because Victor recognized him. Not from school, not from the street. From TV, from billboards, from news videos about business and money. A billionaire. And the billionaire was standing there, calling Amara's name like she belonged to him. Victor's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The billionaire walked closer, stopping beside Amara. His body was calm, but his eyes held a warning. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He simply asked Victor one question, quietly, clearly, in front of everyone. Is there a reason you're shouting at my wife? Victor froze. The crowd exploded into whispers. My wife. That was the only thing people heard. Victor's knees almost gave way. Amara didn't look at Victor anymore. She looked at her husband, and in her eyes was something Victor had never given her. Safety. Victor forced a weak laugh, trying to survive the moment. Your wife? He stammered. No, sir. This is a misunderstanding. I didn't know. The billionaire's face stayed still. You didn't know, he repeated. He looked around at the phones recording, at the faces staring, at the manager trembling. Then he looked back at Victor. And yet you were very confident, he said. Victor swallowed hard. Sweat formed at his hairline. Amara took a slow breath. She glanced once at Victor, just once, like a final look at someone who used to matter. Then she faced her husband again. Let's go, she said quietly. The billionaire nodded. The guards moved closer, clearing a path. Victor's voice cracked as panic rose in him. Amara, wait, Amara, please, let me explain. But the crowd had changed sides already. The same people that watched her get shamed were now watching Victor fall apart. And as Amara took the first step to leave, Victor suddenly rushed forward. Amara, I'm sorry, he shouted. At the same time, one of the guards stepped in front of him, blocking him like a wall. Victor stumbled back. His eyes widened as the guard lifted a hand toward his earpiece again. And then, from somewhere behind the crowd, another voice shouted, Police! Victor's heart dropped, because two uniformed officers had entered the store, moving straight toward him. And the billionaire calmly said, without even raising his voice, Officers, I'd like to make a report. Victor's legs felt like rubber. Amara didn't turn around, but Victor knew something terrible was about to happen. Something that would not only shame him, but destroy him. And the worst part? Everyone was still recording. The word police echoed inside Victor's head like a drum that refused to stop. He stood frozen between the shelves, his mouth open, his chest tight, his eyes darting from the uniformed officers to the tall man beside Amara. The mall, which had felt like his stage just moments ago, now felt like a trap closing in on him. Sir, one of the officers said, stepping forward, we received a complaint of public harassment and disturbance. Victor laughed nervously. It came out wrong, too loud, too sharp. Officer, this is a misunderstanding, he said quickly. This woman, she's my ex. We were just talking. The officer looked past him, straight at Amara. Madam, are you okay? Amara nodded once. I am. Her voice was calm, but it carried weight. It wasn't the voice of someone confused or scared. It was the voice of someone who had learned to stand without shaking. Victor felt something slip inside him. The billionaire placed a gentle hand at Amara's back, not to push her, not to pull her, just to let her know he was there. That single gesture said more than any insult Victor had shouted earlier. Officers, the billionaire said calmly, this man verbally attacked my wife in public. He mocked her past, humiliated her, and caused a crowd to gather. There are witnesses, there are recordings. He glanced at the phones still raised in the air, many recordings. The officer nodded slowly. Sir, he said to Victor, please step aside. Victor's heart began to race. Wait, please, Victor said, lifting his hand slightly. Let's all calm down. I didn't know she was your wife. If you knew what? The billionaire asked, his voice still steady. That she mattered. The question hit harder than a slap. Victor's lips trembled. That she was married to someone like you. A few people in the crowd gasped. Others shook their heads. Amara closed her eyes briefly. That was the moment Victor realized he had not learned anything at all. The billionaire looked at him for a long second. So if she wasn't married to me, he said, your words would still be fine. Victor had no answer. The officer cleared his throat. Sir, we'll need you to come with us for questioning. Victor's face drained of color. Questioning? Officer, please, this can ruin my image. I work in sales. People know me. The officer glanced at the phones again. That already happened here. Victor turned desperate toward Amara. Amara, please, talk to him. Tell them it's fine. We know each other. We had a past. Amara looked at him, and for the first time her calm cracked. Just a little. Yes, she said quietly. We had a past. Victor nodded eagerly. Yes, so let's leave it there. But, Amara continued, you chose to use that past as a weapon. Her eyes met his. And I won't protect you from the consequences. That sentence ended everything. The officers gently but firmly guided Victor away from the center of the store. He stumbled, his confidence fully gone now. The same people who watched him shout earlier now watched him struggle. Whispers followed him like shadows. Is that not the man that was shouting? See how life turns. Imagine shaming someone without knowing their story. Amara felt the weight of it all press against her chest. Not pride, not joy, but something heavier. Closure. The billionaire leaned closer to her. Do you want to leave? He asked softly. She nodded. As they walked out of the store together, guards clearing the way, the mall seemed quieter, even though it was still crowded. Eyes followed them, not with laughter now, but with respect. Outside the store, near a glass railing that overlooked the lower floor, Amara paused. Her husband stopped with her. Are you all right? She inhaled slowly. I didn't think I would ever see him again, she said. Not like this. He studied her face. Did he hurt you today? Amara shook her head. No, he reminded me of who I used to be. Her husband frowned slightly. And who is that? She looked up at him. A woman who survived being left behind. Before he could reply, a voice called out behind them. Madam Amara. It was the store manager again, breathless. Your items are ready in the lounge. We apologize for what happened. We should have stopped him earlier. Amara nodded politely. Thank you. As they walked toward the private lounge, her husband's phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen, then frowned. What is it? Amara asked. He hesitated for half a second. Victor's name, he said. He works with one of my subsidiary companies. Amara stopped walking. The words settled slowly. Works with your company? She asked. Yes, he said. Regional sales unit. I didn't recognize him at first. Amara felt a strange mix of emotions twist inside her, shock, irony, and something close to sadness. So, she said quietly, he has been bragging about winning at life, while working under you. Her husband didn't smile. Yes. A silence stretched between them. Do you want me to handle it? He asked. Amara thought of Victor's voice, his laughter, his words about people being born to struggle. She shook her head. Not yet. Her husband raised an eyebrow. Not yet. She looked out through the glass at the mall below, where Victor was now seated on a bench, head in his hands, officers standing nearby. I want him to understand, she said slowly, not just feel afraid. Her husband studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right. They entered the private lounge, a quiet, elegant space hidden from the noise. Soft chairs, cool air, privacy. Amara sat down, her legs suddenly weak now that the storm had passed. Her husband sat beside her. You were very strong out there. She smiled faintly. I wasn't always. Her mind drifted backward, years ago, to a tiny room with peeling paint, unpaid bills, and Victor's back as he walked away without looking back. She remembered the nights she cried quietly so neighbors wouldn't hear. The days she almost gave up. The moment she decided she would rebuild, even if it took her whole life. Outside the lounge, voices rose suddenly. One of the guards stepped closer to the door. Her husband looked up sharply. What is it? The guard pressed a finger to his earpiece, listening. His expression changed. Sir, he said, Victor is shouting again. He's saying he wants to see Madame Amara. He says there's something she needs to hear. Amara's heart skipped. Her husband stood. That won't be necessary. But Amara slowly rose too. What did he say exactly? She asked. The guard hesitated. He said if she walks away now, she'll regret it. The room went quiet. Amara felt a chill crawl up her spine. She looked at her husband. Let him speak, she said. He frowned. Are you sure? She nodded. Yes. I want to hear what he thinks he still has to say. Her husband studied her face carefully, then gave a small nod. Bring him, he told the guard, but keep distance. Moments later, Victor was brought into the hallway outside the lounge. His shirt was wrinkled now, his hair damp with sweat, his eyes red and desperate. When he saw Amara standing there, calm, composed, something inside him broke again. Amara, he said hoarsely, please, just listen. She crossed her arms gently. I'm listening. Victor swallowed. You think you've won, he said, but you don't know everything. Amara's brow furrowed slightly. What do you mean? Victor looked around nervously, then leaned forward. There's something about your past, he said. Something I never told you. Her heart thudded. The billionaire stepped forward slightly. Say it. Victor's lips trembled. The day I left you, he said, it wasn't just because of money. Amara's chest tightened. Victor's eyes locked onto hers. There was someone else involved, someone who helped me walk away. The hallway seemed to shrink. Amara felt the air leave her lungs. Who? She asked quietly. Victor opened his mouth to answer, and at that exact moment, another man appeared at the end of the hallway, walking fast, panic written all over his face. Sir, the man called out to the billionaire, we have a problem. Everyone turned. The man held up a tablet. On the screen was a news headline already spreading online. Video goes viral. Man publicly shames ex-girlfriend at Lagos Mall. Truth shocks onlookers. Amara's heart dropped, because the story was no longer just in the mall. It was everywhere, and Victor's secret hadn't even come out yet. The tablet felt heavier than it looked. Amara stared at the headline, her name blurred but still readable, the video already playing in a small corner of the screen. Victor's loud voice echoed faintly from it, mocking, cruel, proud. Her chest tightened. It's spreading fast, the man said, his voice tense. Blogs picked it up. Social media too. The billionaire took the tablet and scanned it calmly, but his jaw tightened. Thank you, he said. Give us a moment. The man nodded and stepped back. Silence filled the hallway. Victor looked at the screen, then at Amara. Fear crept into his eyes. You see, he said quickly, this thing is getting big. That's why you need to hear me. There's more to this story. Amara slowly lifted her gaze from the tablet to his face. You already said enough today. No, Victor insisted, shaking his head. I didn't. I kept something from you. Something that explains everything. Her heart thudded louder. The billionaire stepped slightly in front of her. You have exactly one chance to speak, he said to Victor. Choose your words carefully. Victor nodded fast. His confidence was gone now. This was not the Victor who laughed in the store. This was a man cornered by his own past. The day I left you, Victor began, you thought it was sudden. You thought I woke up and decided you were too poor, too much stress. Amara said nothing. Her fingers curled slowly. That wasn't the full truth, Victor continued. I was pushed. Amara's eyes narrowed. Pushed by who? Victor hesitated. The billionaire's voice was firm. Say it. Victor swallowed hard. Your aunt. The word landed like thunder. Amara took a step back without realizing it. My aunt? Yes, Victor said quickly. Your mother's sister, the one that used to visit you sometimes, the one that always looked at you like you were wasting her family name. Memories rushed in, sharp and unwanted, a woman with tight smiles, cold eyes. Questions that sounded kind but weren't. She came to me, Victor continued. She said you were a burden, that marrying you would ruin my future. She said if I stayed with you, I would regret it for the rest of my life. Amara's head spun. She told me you would never rise, Victor said. That struggle followed you like a shadow. The billionaire turned to Amara. Is this true? He asked gently. Amara nodded slowly. She never liked me, she whispered. She always said I dreamed too big. Victor rushed on. She even offered to help me. She said she would connect me to people, that my life would move faster without you. The hallway felt smaller. And you believed her, Amara said quietly. Victor dropped his eyes. Yes. Her chest ached, not with anger, but with something deeper. Betrayal. So you left, she said, not just because life was hard, but because someone convinced you I was nothing. Victor looked up, tears shining in his eyes now. I was weak. I wanted success fast. The billionaire's voice was low and controlled. And after you left her? Victor hesitated again. Things didn't work the way I was promised. Amara let out a soft, bitter breath. Of course. She disappeared, Victor said, stopped picking my calls, left me alone with the guilt. Amara felt something crack inside her, not completely, but enough to hurt. For years, she had blamed herself. Thought she wasn't enough. Thought love left her because she was broken. And now this. Her husband placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Are you all right?" She nodded, though her eyes burned. Victor stepped closer, hope flickering weakly. "Amara, I'm telling you this because you're scared," she interrupted. He froze. "You're not telling me this because you care," Amara continued. "You're telling me because the world is watching now." Victor opened his mouth, then closed it again. Outside the hallway, voices grew louder. Reporters, curious shoppers, security struggling to keep people back. The viral video had turned the mall into a magnet. A guard rushed in. "Sir," he said to the billionaire, "media is gathering outside. They want a statement." The billionaire nodded once. "Not yet." Victor's eyes widened. "Statement?" he whispered. Please don't destroy me." Amara looked at him, really looked at him. The man who once walked away when she had nothing. The man who shouted when he thought he was above her. "You destroyed yourself," she said softly. She turned to her husband. "Let's go." Victor panicked. "Wait, there's more." Amara stopped. Victor's voice shook. "Your aunt didn't just talk to me," he said. She did something else." Amara slowly turned back. "What did she do?" she asked. Victor swallowed. "She tried to stop you, even after I left." The billionaire's eyes darkened. "Explain." "She blocked opportunities," Victor said. "I found out later. Jobs you applied for, scholarships. She had connections. She used them." Amara's knees felt weak. All those rejection emails, all those silent doors. It wasn't just bad luck. Her husband tightened his grip on her shoulder. "Are you saying she actively worked against my wife?" Victor nodded. "Yes." A long silence followed. The billionaire looked at Amara. "Do you want to leave this place now?" Amara closed her eyes for a moment. "No," she said. She opened them again, stronger. "I want the truth to come out." Victor's breath caught. "You mean publicly?" "Yes," she said. "The same way you shamed me." The billionaire studied her face, then nodded slowly. "All right." A guard stepped in. "Sir, the press is pushing hard." "Let them wait," the billionaire replied. "We're not done." Victor's fear turned to panic. "Amara, please, if this comes out, I'll lose everything." She looked at him, calm again. "That fear you feel," she said, "that's how I lived for years." Outside, a loud voice shouted, "We know you're in there." The mall buzzed like a storm. Amara straightened her back. "Let's face them," she said. The billionaire nodded. Together. Victor's legs trembled as guards repositioned, and as they prepared to step out, a phone buzzed in the billionaire's hand. He checked the screen. His face changed. "Amara," he said quietly, "your aunt just requested an urgent meeting." Amara's heart dropped, because the woman who helped destroy her past was now reaching into her present. And the confrontation everyone avoided for years was about to happen. Live, in front of the whole world. The message stayed on the screen like a threat. "Unknown contact. I need to see you now. It's urgent." Aunt Rose. Amara stared at the name, her aunt's name. The woman who smiled with her mouth but never with her eyes. The woman who always said, "I just want the best for you," while quietly closing doors. Her chest felt tight. "She wants to meet?" Amara asked, her voice low. The billionaire nodded. "Yes. Right now." Victor's head snapped up. "She contacted you." His voice cracked. "She never contacted me again." Amara didn't look at him. Her focus was elsewhere now, on the past she thought she had buried. Outside the private hallway, the noise grew louder. Cameras clicked. Reporters shouted questions. Security guards formed a tighter line, struggling to hold back the crowd. The mall had turned into a storm. "Sir," a guard said urgently, "we can't hold them much longer." The billionaire took a calm breath. "Then we won't." Amara turned to him sharply. "What do you mean?" "We step out," he said. "We control the moment." Victor's eyes widened. "You can't be serious." The billionaire looked at him once. "You already made this public. Now the truth will answer you." Amara's heart pounded. This was bigger than shame now, bigger than Victor, bigger than them all. This was about her life. They moved. The guards opened the hallway, forming a protective wall as Amara and her husband stepped forward. The noise exploded the second they appeared. "Madam, is it true you were humiliated by your ex? Sir, are you really her husband? Is the video real?" Flashes lit up the space like lightning. Amara felt her breath catch, but then she felt a hand gently squeeze hers. She looked up at her husband. His face was calm, steady, like a shield. She straightened. The billionaire raised one hand slightly. The guards lifted their palms. Slowly the shouting reduced to whispers. He spoke clearly. "There will be no questions right now." Groans rose from the crowd. He continued, "But there will be truth." Amara felt every eye on her. Victor stood a few steps behind them, pale, shaking, looking smaller than she ever remembered him. The billionaire turned to Amara. "Are you ready?" She swallowed. "Yes." He nodded, then looked at the crowd again. "The video you're sharing shows only part of the story. What you saw was a man using someone's past to feel powerful." He paused. "But what you didn't see," he continued, "is the strength it takes to rebuild a life after being abandoned." Amara took a small step forward. Her voice was soft, but the microphones carried it everywhere. "I didn't come here to speak. Today," she said. "I came to shop quietly. I came as a woman who learned peace." She glanced briefly at Victor. "But some people don't like peace. They need noise to hide their regret." The crowd murmured. Amara continued, her voice steady now. "Years ago, I was left when my life was breaking. I blamed myself. I thought I wasn't good enough." Her eyes burned, but she didn't cry. "I didn't know someone was pushing that lie from behind the scenes." The crowd leaned in. Victor's face tightened. Amara turned slightly, facing the cameras fully. "I just learned today that a family member worked against me. Blocked opportunities, poisoned minds." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "My aunt," Amara said clearly. A shockwave went through the reporters. "Is she here?" someone shouted. The billionaire's phone buzzed again. He looked at the screen. "She is," he said calmly. A sudden stir broke out near the mall entrance. People turned. A woman in a sharp blue dress pushed through the crowd, her face tight, her lips pressed into a thin smile. She looked angry, but controlled, like someone used to being obeyed. Amara's heart skipped. Aunt Rose. The woman stopped a few meters away, eyes locking onto Amara. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Aunt Rose laughed lightly. "Amara," she said, spreading her hands, "look at this drama. I leave my house for one meeting, and I find my niece turning her personal issues into a public show." The crowd erupted in whispers. Amara felt her hand shake, but she didn't step back. "You asked to see me," Amara said. "You said it was urgent." "Yes," Aunt Rose replied coolly, "because this is embarrassing. For the family." The billionaire stepped forward slightly. "Madam," he said, "with respect, you are the one being mentioned." Aunt Rose's eyes flicked to him, sharp. "And you are?" Her tone changed when he introduced himself. Recognition flashed in her eyes. "Oh," she said slowly, "so you're the husband?" "Yes," he replied, "and I'm listening." Aunt Rose smiled stiffly. "Then listen well. This girl has always exaggerated. She blames everyone for her struggles." Victor swallowed hard. "That's not true," he said weakly. Aunt Rose shot him a glare. "Stay quiet." The billionaire's jaw tightened. Amara took a breath. "You told him to leave me," she said. "You told him I would ruin his future." Aunt Rose scoffed. "I gave advice. That's what elders do." "You blocked my chances," Amara continued. "Jobs, scholarships." "That's a lie," Aunt Rose snapped. The billionaire raised his phone calmly. "Is it?" He tapped the screen and handed it to a guard, who passed it to the nearest reporter. Emails, records, names. The crowd gasped. Aunt Rose's smile froze. "I don't know where you got that," she said quickly. "Anyone can fake." "You used the same email address," the billionaire interrupted. "For years." Silence dropped like a curtain. Victor stared at Aunt Rose in disbelief. "You promised to help me," he whispered. "You said she was the problem." Aunt Rose turned on him. "You were weak," she hissed. "I just showed you the truth." Amara felt something settle inside her, not rage, clarity. You didn't ruin me, Amara said quietly. You only slowed me down. Aunt Rose laughed bitterly. And yet, here you are, married to money. Don't pretend this is about character. The billionaire stepped forward fully now. This, he said, is about dignity. He turned to the reporters. My wife didn't marry me because of money. She met me when I had nothing to offer her but honesty. Amara looked at him, surprised. He smiled slightly. And she stayed when life tested us. The crowd went silent. Aunt Rose's face darkened. You think you've won? Amara nodded slowly. No, I think I'm free. Police officers moved closer. Madam, one officer said to Aunt Rose, we need you to answer some questions. Aunt Rose stiffened. On what grounds? Interference, harassment, abuse of influence. Her eyes widened for the first time. Victor backed away slowly, realizing how deep this had gone. Aunt Rose's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Amara, she said, this won't end here. Amara met her gaze without fear. It already has. The officer stepped closer, and then Victor suddenly shouted, Wait! Everyone turned. His face was twisted with panic and desperation. If she goes down, he said, pointing at Aunt Rose, then everything I did, everything I said. His voice broke. It means I was wrong. The crowd watched him crumble. Amara felt no joy, no victory dance, only release. The officer placed a hand on Aunt Rose's arm. She pulled away sharply, eyes blazing. You think this ends me? She snapped. You think secrets don't cut both ways? Amara's heart skipped. What do you mean? The billionaire asked. Aunt Rose smiled slowly, cruelly. You married her, she said, looking straight at him. But you don't know everything about her past. Amara's blood ran cold. Say what you mean, Amara said. Aunt Rose leaned closer, lowering her voice, but the microphones caught every word. There is something about Amara, she said, something she herself doesn't even know. The crowd erupted. The billionaire's face tightened. Amara felt the ground shift beneath her feet. What are you talking about? She whispered. Aunt Rose's smile widened. Ask your mother, she said softly, if she's still alive. Amara's breath caught. Her knees weakened. Because her mother died years ago, and whatever Aunt Rose was about to reveal could change everything. The mall went silent. Not the normal silence of people leaving, but the heavy kind that presses on the chest. Amara stood still, Aunt Rose's words ringing in her ears like broken glass. Ask your mother if she's still alive. Her mother, gone for years, buried with tears, prayers, and unanswered questions. Amara felt her knees weaken, but she did not fall. Her husband stepped closer, steadying her without saying a word. His presence reminded her that she was not alone anymore. Not the way she used to be. What do you mean? He asked Aunt Rose, his voice firm but controlled. Aunt Rose lifted her chin, enjoying the attention. I mean there is more to Amara's story than the poor, helpless girl you all like to celebrate. Amara swallowed. You're lying, she said softly. Aunt Rose smiled. Your mother begged me never to tell you. A murmur swept through the crowd. The police officer holding Aunt Rose's arm tightened his grip. Madam, be careful what you say. But Aunt Rose had waited years for this moment. She wasn't who you thought she was, Aunt Rose continued. Your mother came from money, old money. She walked away from it for love and paid the price. Amara's head spun. My mother was a schoolteacher, she whispered. Yes, Aunt Rose said, by choice, not by birth. The billionaire turned to Amara. Is this true? Amara shook her head slowly. I never knew. She never told me. Aunt Rose's voice sharpened. Because she was ashamed. Ashamed that her family rejected her. Ashamed that she married a man who couldn't give her the life she grew up in. The crowd leaned in, hanging on every word. Victor stood frozen, forgotten, his mouth slightly open. And you? Amara asked, her voice trembling now. You knew all this? Aunt Rose nodded. I did, and when your mother died, I thought you'd finally disappear quietly. Amara's chest tightened painfully. So you punished me for her choices. I protected the family name, Aunt Rose snapped. The billionaire stepped forward, his voice calm but heavy. You destroyed a young woman's life because of pride. Aunt Rose scoffed. Look at her now, she survived. Amara took a deep breath. No, she said, I didn't just survive. She lifted her head, her voice steadying. I learned who I was without money, without help, without love. She looked around at the crowd. Everything I became, I built while believing I was alone. Her eyes returned to Aunt Rose. You don't get credit for my strength. The officer nodded to another policeman. Madam Rose, you are under arrest for abuse of influence and harassment. Aunt Rose stiffened. You can't arrest me for telling the truth. No, the officer replied calmly, but we can arrest you for what you did with it. As the officers moved to escort her away, Aunt Rose turned sharply to Amara one last time. You think you won, she hissed, but the world is cruel to women like you. Remember that. Amara met her gaze. I know, she said. I lived in that world, and I learned how to rise above it. Aunt Rose was led away, her heels clicking sharply against the mall floor until the sound disappeared. The crowd erupted, not with cheers, but with stunned whispers. The billionaire turned to Victor, who had been standing in the shadows, shaking. You, he said quietly. Victor flinched. Sir, You humiliated my wife, the billionaire continued, not because she hurt you, but because you wanted to feel bigger. Victor's voice broke. I was wrong. Yes, the billionaire replied. You were. He looked at the officers. I'm withdrawing further action. Let him go. Victor's head snapped up. You are? Amara turned to her husband in surprise. He nodded. Fear teaches nothing if regret already has. Victor's knees nearly gave way. Thank you, he whispered. Amara stepped forward. Victor looked at her with wet eyes. Amara, I'm sorry. I didn't know your worth until it was gone. She studied him quietly. I know, she said. That's why you lost. She turned away, ending the conversation without anger, without insult. Victor was left standing there, free but smaller than ever. The guards cleared a path as Amara and her husband walked out of the mall together. Cameras followed, flashes popping, but she no longer felt exposed. She felt light. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky soft gold. They stopped beside their car. Her husband looked at her gently. Are you okay? Amara took a long breath. I think I finally am. He smiled. Your past tried to hold you back. She nodded. But it failed. As they drove away, the mall behind them buzzed with stories and opinions, but Amara no longer cared. Because the real victory wasn't that Victor was shamed. It wasn't that Aunt Rose was exposed. It wasn't even that the world finally saw the truth. The real victory was this. Amara no longer needed anyone's approval to know her worth. She had been quiet. She had been patient. And she had risen. Not with noise, but with grace. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.